Have you ever looked in the mirror first thing in the morning and brushed off the tired eyes, the pale skin, or that strange puffiness around your face, telling yourself it's just age, just allergies, or just a bad night's sleep? What if I told you those little changes could be something far more dangerous? Silent warning signs that your kidneys are in trouble. Every single day in the United States, more than 35 million people are living with kidney disease. And here's the terrifying truth. Most of them don't even know it until it's too late. Kidney disease doesn't knock loudly, it whispers. It writes its messages on your face in ways most people ignore until the damage is already done. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, a board-certified kidney specialist, and today I want to open your eyes literally, because your face is not just what the world sees. It's a living map of your internal health. And in this video, I'm going to reveal the 5 critical warning signs of kidney disease that can show up on your face before any blood test, before any diagnosis, before you even realize something is wrong. But here's the promise: once you know what to look for, you'll never see your reflection the same way again. What looks like fatigue could be your body screaming for help. What looks like a minor rash could be a signal that your kidneys are overwhelmed. And what looks like harmless swelling might actually be the very first clue that can save your life. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the hidden signs, the real stories, and the medical truths that most doctors never explain outside of their offices. And once you learn these clues, you'll be equipped to protect yourself and the people you love from one of the deadliest silent diseases in America. Let's start with the first sign, one that shows up right where you can't miss it: puffy eyes. Now, I know what you might be thinking. We all wake up with swollen eyelids sometimes, and most of the time we blame it on allergies, not enough sleep, maybe even too much salt the night before. But here's the part: no one tells you persistent puffiness around the eyes, especially in the mornings, can actually be an early red flag that your kidneys are leaking protein. I had a patient, let's call him Bob. He was young, only in his 20s, worked out 5 days a week, ate clean, and thought he was the picture of health. But Bob kept noticing that his eyes were swollen even when it wasn't allergy season, even when he was getting a full night's sleep. At first, he brushed it off. Weeks later, not only were his eyes puffier, but his entire face looked bloated, and he had put on weight he couldn't explain. That wasn't muscle gain. That was water, and it was written all over his face. Here's what was happening. Your kidneys act like filters. When they're healthy, they hold on to protein inside your blood vessels, like a sponge that keeps fluid in place. Protein is not supposed to spill into your urine, but when the kidneys start to break down, that barrier weakens. The protein leaks out, the sponge is gone, and fluid seeps into the tissues. The first place you'll see it, around the eyes, giving you that pillow-like swelling. Science backs this up. In fact, diabetes, the #1 cause of kidney disease in America, often shows up first as protein in the urine long before blood tests reveal trouble. Autoimmune diseases like lupus can do the same. And even certain infections like strep throat can trigger your immune system to mistakenly attack the kidneys, causing protein to spill and puffiness to appear. So if you've been noticing puffy eyes that don't go away with sleep, don't just write it off. It could be one of the earliest whispers that your kidneys are under attack. Have you ever caught yourself thinking it's just age or allergies? If so, drop a comment below. I promise you're not the only one. But here's the thing: just knowing about puffy eyes isn't enough. Because what if your face starts changing color altogether? That's when the danger gets even deeper and the signal from your kidneys becomes impossible to ignore. Now let's move to the second warning sign, and this one is even easier to overlook: changes in the color of your face. I'm not talking about a suntan or a little winter paleness. I mean a face that looks washed out, dull, or even yellowish, as if the life has been drained out of your skin. This isn't just about looks, it can be your kidneys telling you that your blood itself is running low on oxygen. Let me share the story of a woman named Margaret. She was in her early 60s and loved spending time with her grandchildren. But she started noticing something strange. Her foundation no longer matched her skin. She looked pale no matter how much makeup she applied, and her friends kept asking if she was tired or sick. The truth: her kidneys weren't producing enough of a hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO. Without EPO, her bone marrow couldn't make enough red blood cells. And without red blood cells, her body couldn't carry enough oxygen. That's anemia, and it was written all over her face. The science is clear. Your kidneys are the command center for producing EPO. Healthy kidneys keep your red blood cell count steady, but damaged kidneys slow that production down. Studies show that up to 90% of patients with advanced chronic kidney disease suffer from anemia, and it doesn't just make you tired, it changes the very color of your skin. That's why doctors often check the inside of your eyelids. Normally, they should be a healthy, bright pink. But in anemia, they look pale, almost white, giving away the shortage of red blood cells long before a lab test confirms it. Think about it. If you're feeling drained, struggling to climb stairs, or constantly short of breath, and at the same time you notice your face has lost its natural glow, don't brush it off as aging. This could be your kidneys waving a giant red flag. So here's my challenge to you. After this video, take a moment, look in the mirror and gently pull down your lower eyelid. If you don't see a rich pink, but instead see a pale shade, don't ignore it. It could be time to get your blood checked and talk to your doctor. But only focusing on skin color still doesn't tell the whole story. Because what happens when the puffiness around the eyes spreads to the entire face, turning your reflection into something almost unrecognizable? That's the third sign, and it's far more alarming than most people realize. If puffy eyes are an early whisper, then a swollen round moon-like face is the body shouting at the top of its lungs. This is not just about tired eyes anymore. It's about your kidneys failing to control fluid protein and salt. When that balance breaks, your face doesn't just look a little bloated. It can become so swollen that you barely recognize yourself in the mirror. Remember Bob, the young man I told you about earlier? His journey didn't stop with swollen eyes. Over a few short weeks, his entire face puffed up. His jawline disappeared, his cheeks rounded out, and the scale showed he had gained nearly 40 pounds. But here's the shocking part. It wasn't fat and it wasn't muscle. It was water. Water trapped in his body because his kidneys were no longer holding on to protein the way they should. A simple urine test confirmed the truth. Bob was leaking more than 4 grams of protein every single day. This is what doctors call nephrotic syndrome. Normally, your kidneys should let out less than 150 milligrams of protein in 24 hours. With nephrotic syndrome, it can be 3,000 milligrams, 5,000 milligrams, sometimes even more than 15,000. Imagine a sponge designed to hold water suddenly tearing apart. The fluid seeps everywhere. That's exactly what happens in your body. Without protein acting like that sponge inside your blood vessels, water escapes into your tissues, causing swelling not only in your face, but also in your legs, your belly, even your back. And it's not rare. Diabetes lupus and a condition called FSGS, focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, are among the leading causes. In Bob's case, it was something known as minimal change disease, and under the microscope, his kidney filters had literally lost their structure and negative charge. Without that natural barrier, proteins simply poured out. That's why he looked like he had transformed overnight, his once lean body replaced by an unnatural puffiness. Now here's where I want you to pause and think. If you notice unexplained swelling in your face, especially when paired with foamy urine, like the head of a freshly poured beer, it's time to stop blaming age or diet and start asking your doctor for tests. Because this kind of swelling isn't cosmetic, it's your kidneys waving a desperate flag for help. But here's the kicker. Swelling can be frightening, but there's another facial clue that doesn't look as dramatic yet, can be just as relentless. It shows up as itching rashes or dark patches across the skin, and it's often ignored until it drives people crazy. That's the fourth warning sign, and it could be hiding right now on your own face. Now let's talk about the fourth warning sign, one that doesn't always look dramatic but can quietly torment you day and night, itching or rashes on your face. Sure, dry winter air or a new skincare product can make your skin itchy. But when that itch becomes relentless, when it leaves scratch marks on your cheeks or dark patches on your forehead, it's often something much deeper. It can be your kidneys struggling to clear one very common mineral, phosphorus. I once had a patient named Harold, a retired teacher in his 70s. He thought his face was just getting sensitive with age, but he scratched so much that his skin became raw, and he blamed it on soap, laundry detergent, even allergies. Nothing helped. The truth was that his kidneys were failing to filter phosphorus. Instead of being flushed out in his urine, it built up in his blood. That excess phosphorus triggered nerve endings in his skin, leaving him with a deep, almost unbearable itch. The science here is simple but powerful. Phosphorus is in so many of the foods we eat: milk, cheese, nuts, processed meats, even sodas. For healthy kidneys, it's no problem. But in chronic kidney disease, phosphorus builds up and becomes toxic. Doctors call this hyperphosphatemia, and research shows that nearly half of patients with advanced kidney disease experience some form of itchy skin, often worse at night, robbing them of sleep and energy. So what can you do? Step 1, check your diet. Processed foods are loaded with hidden phosphorus. Step 2, if you already have kidney disease, talk to your doctor about phosphate binders, medications that can trap phosphorus in your gut so it never reaches your blood. And most importantly, don't ignore that itch, especially if it's persistent and unexplained. Now here's where I need you to stop and think. Have you noticed yourself scratching at your face, arms, or scalp, especially at night? If so, drop a comment below, because many people chalk this up to just dry skin, when in fact it could be a serious sign their kidneys are overloaded. But itching isn't the end of the story. Because while it can keep you up at night, the 5th warning sign is something far more dangerous. Rare, yes, but unmistakable, and when it appears, it's a medical emergency. It's called uremic frost, and it could be the last clue your face gives you before your kidneys completely shut down. And now we reach the 5th and final warning sign, the one that very few people have ever heard about. Yet it is the most urgent of them all: unusual dryness on your face, or something called uremic frost. Now, dry skin by itself isn't always alarming. Maybe you live in a cold climate, maybe you need more moisturizer. But when your face becomes unusually brittle, rough, or covered in a strange, powdery film, that is not just skincare. That is your body in crisis. I'll never forget a man named Stephen who came into the emergency room with what looked like white dust sprinkled across his cheeks and around his lips. At first glance, a nurse thought it was talcum powder, but it wasn't. It was crystallized urea leaking out through his sweat glands because his kidneys could no longer clear toxins from his blood. That white film had a name: uremic frost, and it was a flashing red siren that he was in end-stage kidney failure. The science behind this is chilling. Your kidneys normally remove urea and nitrogen waste, keeping your blood chemistry balanced. But in advanced kidney disease, those toxins build up to dangerously high levels. When blood urea nitrogen bun skyrockets, the body tries to push it out through the skin. The result is a frosted, powder-like coating. Rare, yes, especially in the United States where dialysis is widely available. But when it appears, it means your body is drowning in toxins, and it is a medical emergency. Even without frost, persistent, unusual dryness on the face can also point to kidney problems. Toxins and electrolyte imbalances can strip moisture from your skin, leaving it cracked, flaky, and lifeless. If you notice that no amount of lotion seems to help, that your skin feels different in a way you can't quite explain, pay attention. Your face may be telling you something your blood work hasn't yet. So here's my advice. If you ever see a frosted appearance on your face, do not wait. Do not Google. Do not delay. Call emergency services immediately. Because uremic frost is not a skincare issue, it's a life or death warning. But here's the big picture. We've talked about swollen eyes, pale skin, moon face, swelling, rashes, and even frost. Taken alone, each one might be dismissed. But together they form a pattern, a roadmap to hidden kidney disease written across your face. And that's exactly what I want to wrap up for you in the conclusion, because knowing these signs isn't enough. You need to know how to act on them and how to protect your kidneys before it's too late. So here's what I want you to remember. Your face is not just what you present to the world, it's a reflection of your inner health. Puffy eyes, pale skin, swelling, itching, or even that rare frosted appearance, these are not things to brush aside. They are your body's way of whispering, sometimes shouting that your kidneys need help. And I know it can feel overwhelming, even frightening, to realize how silent kidney disease can be. But here's the truth: you have power. By paying attention to these early signs, by getting checked when something feels off, you're already taking the most important step: catching problems before they become life-changing emergencies. If this video has helped you, please don't keep it to yourself. Save it so you can come back to these signs anytime. Share it with your family, because someone you love might be ignoring the same warnings in the mirror. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button, because I'll keep bringing you the latest, most practical medical information to help you protect your kidneys and live your healthiest life. Remember, this kidney disease doesn't define you. Early knowledge, smart choices, and steady care can make all the difference. You are not powerless. You are stronger than you think. And every step you take to care for your kidneys is a step toward more energy, more freedom, and more years with the people who matter.